Minister, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, Commonwealth friends, I can't tell you how truly delighted I am to be here. I really have been looking forward very much to rejoining you at this gathering and returning to Malta. I have a hope and expectation that as a result of the invitation we've just heard, all of us will have an opportunity to see Malta and not just work. But something tells me that might be a little more difficult. I'm sure that we have great expectations for our time together. The Commonwealth Local Government Forum really does play a vital role in extending and maintaining the Commonwealth connection. The opportunities that we have to come together to share what works and what does not work is absolutely invaluable. And we are pleased to be working with an even closer partnership with now with CLGF and the Commonwealth Secretariat, because we're all sharing the same home together in Commonwealth House in London. And I pay tribute to the careful planning and generous hospitality of the government of Malta and the people of this island. The warmth of the welcome we have received really does show the strength of the commitment to the Commonwealth and to the values and principles of our Commonwealth Charter. It was at their meeting here in Malta in 2015 that the Commonwealth Heads of Government entrusted to me the responsibilities of being your Secretary General. And when our national leaders gather again next April, this time in London, their theme will be towards a common future. Representatives from different sectors of society will also come together at the related forums which take place the same week. I particularly want to engage with you as you share knowledge and ideas on how we can make even more of the distinctive contributions of local government in working towards a fairer, safer, more prosperous, and more sustainable future for all Commonwealth communities. Local government is fundamental to achieving these goals and makes an immense contribution towards development and democracy, that we are inclusive and resilient. It does so at those levels at which citizens are perhaps most immediately aware of progress being made and at which they see strengths and shortcomings most clearly. Good and honest local government is a vital part of the fabric that knits together society inclusively and with respect for the needs and aspirations of people of every age and of all backgrounds. When local political oversight and administration are weak or fail, communities break down, with disastrous consequences for social and economic development. Services and infrastructure upon which young and old depend are provided by local authorities in their streets and the communities where they live, where they play, where they learn, and where they go to work. The Commonwealth Charter, adopted by our heads of government on behalf of the citizens in all our member states, speaks of the importance of representative local government and of sustainable development. It sets out the values and principles by which we seek to advance development, resilience, the rights of citizens, and social and economic inclusion. Under the heading Democracy, the Charter states this, and I quote, "Parliaments and representatives, local government, and other forms of local governance are essential elements in the exercise of democratic governance." This highlights that the key Commonwealth principles of democracy and rule of law are as important at local government level as they are at national level. Principles of transparency, accountability, and effectiveness are fundamental tenets of a strong political system, as are level playing field for all participants in the political process and free association with freedom of expression and access to the media. We welcome the valuable work that CLGF carries out to support local governments throughout the Commonwealth to live up to these principles and to deliver effective governance to citizens. Development, whether social or economic, depends on reliable and efficient infrastructure and utilities, such as roads, schools, and healthcare facilities, with accountable and responsive delivery of service at local, district, and regional levels. And regenerative development of those facilities and opportunities are really important. Resilient development can best be achieved through the regenerative model of development, which supports member states and communities in the Commonwealth to meet the commitments outlined in the Paris Agreement and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The regenerative model of development is the use of resources to improve social well-being in a way that builds the capacity of the support systems needed for future growth and prosperity. It's not limited to balancing developmental aspirations with climate resilience by returning back to nature for solutions. Furthermore, the regenerative model of development goes beyond mere growth in that it focuses on competence, efficiency, and innovation to both mitigate and adapt to climate change. This goes beyond sustainability in that it seeks development in ways that results in more rainforests, fertile soil, fishery stocks, a cleaner atmosphere. It is an holistic approach to land use, community development, and the built environment that supports place-based projects that can be shared, improved, and learned from at all levels. And I think it very much fits in with what His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, said in his kind message. I have recently returned from the Caribbean, where I saw the aftermath of the hurricanes Irma and Maria. The widespread impact and the dreadful damage caused by these Category 5 storms was truly shocking. Many of us for generations have been talking about the existential threat of climate change, particularly on our small island developing states. Well, if people wanted to see what an existential threat looked like, I think we need look no further than the islands of Barbuda and the island of Dominica, the country of my birth. The whole population was evacuated from Barbuda. Those I spoke to from the island pointed out buildings to me and said, that used to be our school. That used to be our house. That used to be our police station. And that used to be our civic hall. They were talking about totally demolished buildings. A community which had been vibrant, alive, joyous moments before the Hurricane Irma hit was simply no more. In Dominica, we saw damage to the island of 200% of GDP. Every house, every home, every business affected, and many, many lives lost. And in some Caribbean nations and in other Commonwealth countries stricken by extreme weather and other natural disasters, swathes have been cut through the GDP. And I think we need to remember the mudslides in Sierra Leone, the flooding in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India, the drop in rainfall by 35%, which has brought devastation in its wake because we have desertification and we have drought. And then the demolition of so many islands, 9 islands in the Caribbean, and then poor Vanuatu, where 6,000 people had to be evacuated from Apia. Every part of our Commonwealth has been touched, and that is a reality that we face today. Disruption to essential social services, including health and education, are still to be restored. Most of the children not yet back at school. Damage to infrastructure, which is so severe that in some cases development may have been set back by a generation. It will take a very long time and a huge financial resource to rebuild communities so that they are able to function properly. And reconstruction needs to be done in ways that build resilience and safeguard against repeated economic, social, and environmental disruption. But it is way beyond the present financial capacity of many of the most severely affected countries to allocate adequate financial resources to do so. Yet, access to international development funds and climate financing for these small island states is constrained due to regulatory and policy hurdles and procedural and capacity obstacles. These conspire to delay and impair the heroic efforts of government and local people to rebuild. Everywhere we heard, we must rebuild, but we must build back better, smarter, and more resilient. The need when rebuilding also to build resilience and reduce vulnerability is now high on the agenda of policymakers in the Caribbean region, but absolutely everywhere else too. We have to mobilize international commitment to ensure that there is sufficient funding for climate resilience to be embedded in all restoration, rebuilding, and developmental planning. The global community must step up and engage cooperatively with establishing new sources and means for providing financial and technical support, even in less extreme circumstances. We all know that funding is tight, both nationally and internationally, and resources are stretched. We are all, quite rightly, under increasing pressure to deliver quality results with value for money. We have to show clearly and transparently that assets and income are being used wisely. And this relates very directly to the theme of this conference: fit for the future, resources and capacity for effective local government. Central to our Commonwealth approach is commitment always to supporting and learning from one another. That is how we build capacity, adopting and adapting innovation to deepen local democracy and make local government more responsive and accountable to the needs of the communities it serves, which is why the Commonwealth Secretariat, we are establishing an innovation hub. Sharing experiences of innovation offers opportunities to increase the impact and efficiency in cost-effective ways. We work smarter when we understand one another's failures as well as successes. And time and money, which would otherwise be squandered, are saved and progress accelerated. The Sustainable Development Goals and the Commonwealth Charter, which predates and prefigures them, lay great emphasis on good governance and strong public institutions, particularly in SDG 16. As well as being a goal in itself, strong governance at all levels is vital to the achievement of the other SDGs. And global efforts to attain these goals by 2030 depend on the wide range of infrastructure investment and service delivery for which local government is responsible, including transport, health, and education. We know that globally we are growing slowly, the economies in our world. We're now up to 3.7% in growth, an improvement from the year before when we were flatlining at 2% or less. But we also know that when you disaggregate the growth levels within the 3.7%, those of us who are doing well are those who are investing in our human capacity. And the Commonwealth has always been pivotal in helping us together to invest better in that human capacity. And that is where our true wealth will be found. So a particular focus of the SDGs is on achieving gender equality in all aspects of public and private life. It features high on Commonwealth strategic plans and work streams, with a particular emphasis on women's political participation and leadership. So I am so pleased that later this week, the Commonwealth Women in Local Government Network is to be launched. And I think there'll be something for us all to celebrate. Achieving fairer representation and gender equality means encouraging and supporting women into positions of community and political leadership. And I commend the CGLF for establishing a dedicated network for women to exchange knowledge and provide mutual support. And I also thank them so warmly for allowing me to be the first Secretary General to be invited or to be able to accept their invitation to the board today. A historical moment which I am hopeful will be repeated again and again and again. Because sharing experiences and perspectives within the diversity and commonality of the Commonwealth offers distinctive ways of making a difference to the 2.4 billion people who are in our beloved Commonwealth. Local government impacts citizens' learning, their leisure time, and their livelihoods. Every aspect of their lives is touched by local government. So I hope we will work together to make our institutions at every level even more fit for the future, with the resources and capacity to be effective. And that is how we will truly develop and deliver the SDGs that will enable us to be sustainable and resilient. And I want to take this moment, if I may, just to thank each and every one of you who have taken time to attend this conference, for being willing to be the change that we will have to see in order to deliver the SDGs. And so on behalf of the 2.4 billion citizens who rely on you, may I say thank you, and may God bless you for all your hard work.